Welcome back to Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. Join us as we venture year-round into the fog.
Make sure you give us a like and a follow on your podcast platform of choice. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube page where we upload every episode in its video format, and maybe a few other surprises as well.
Make sure you're following us on social media to keep up to date with our newest haunted content.
I'm Nick.
I'm Seamus.
I'm Jamie.
March Madness is maddening. It's here. I don't know. It's coming. It's here. This is not like our typical March Madness. Typically, we've done maybe just like a one-part episode for March Madness where we did the actual brackets and kind of, got a winner of some sorts, whether we did IPs, originals, whatever. We've done March Madness brackets in the past. This time, we're getting real mad. We're going real crazy with this. This is a 3-part episode, and I figured because we are coming up onto not only the big anniversary year that is 35 this coming year, we're creeping up towards our anniversary in May, which I think is our 6th year, maybe 6 or 7. I have to check now. Something like that. But it brought me to a point where it was like, hey, and I mentioned it on an episode maybe months ago, like, oh, we're going to do 50 houses. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, but it's a long one. This is going to be tough. And this was hard. So I figured this might be a little bit easier for us because we kind of were at the event, all of these events as a podcast, sort of covering stuff and going through multiple runs versus like if we did, 25, 26, 27, 28, we might not have gone to those events. We might have only done houses once. I definitely don't remember those ones as good enough, but it is a nice clean 50, which always threw me off, that 30 through 34. It makes me think 4 events, but it's really 5.
Right.
So I figured, what the hell, let's do it. Let's put these all together. So to just kind of break this episode down a little bit, we are kind of compiling a master list. This is something that we've done in the past on the Catacombs of Halloween Horror Nights mega hype episodes where we do a big master list. What we did was Seamus, Jamie, and myself all listed the houses from HHN 30 through 34, 1 through 50. I had everyone send them to me. We compiled them, and what we did was we added the numbers together and we sort of averaged it all out so we could find what was the order of collectively what our group was at. There was a couple tiebreakers, and the way I did that, not to try to get too crazy with numbers and stuff, essentially, if you put something at 1, it got 1 point. If you put something at 50, it got 50 points. So when I add all those numbers together, the ones with the highest numbers are the lowest, the ones with the lowest numbers are the highest, if that makes sense. So say all three. Yeah, so say all 3 of us put 1 point for a specific house because we all thought it was our number 1 house. That would have a total of 3 points. That's pretty low, so it's going to be up top. Versus if we had a collective, we all didn't like this house, we put it at 50, that would mean it got 150 points. It's probably going to be at the bottom. So once I had all those numbers, I saw if any kind of were lined up, the same numbers, and there was a couple, and we'll get to those. There's a couple that are tied, and the way I did the tiebreakers was first, number 1 was I looked at where we ranked all of those houses. Whichever had the higher ranking between the two got to be above. Now that cleared up most of them. There was one instance, one tiebreaker, where I did that and somebody had both houses at the same placement. So there was nothing to do. So the second tiebreaker was whatever had the lowest placement got the lower rank. So I think that was the most fair way to dictate this list. Sounds crazy. It probably makes more sense because I'm staring at the numbers, but that's hopefully I explained that properly so people kind of understand throughout these episodes where we're going. And we're not going to talk about how many points it got. We'll talk about, where we ranked it on the list and stuff like that. But the points are just back end stuff, really. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. This is going to be broken up. Tonight we are going to be going through houses 50 to 35. So the tail end of the list. The one I'm really excited for, it's not even the last one. It's the middle one, because that was for me the hardest to figure out.
When you get to this number of houses, it's almost like, I had to go through my list like 3 or 4 times before I was finally like set on it. Cause like you say, like in the middle there, it's just like, it could be any, like, honestly, you probably could take like my 19th and move it down to my 31st or my 31st up to like the 25th, like just how they all kind of bled together. So I think I surprised myself even a little bit. So
yeah, I definitely did as well. It was, if you took my list and deleted it right now and told me to redo it, there's no way it would be the same list. So it's going to change based off of whatever. How did you, so I'm curious Seamus, how did you make your list? How did you start attacking this?
Honestly, what I did was I ranked the first 10 from that first year. I ranked all of those, and then I kind of went for the remaining 4 subsequent years. I just went through each house and I said, do I like this one better than this? No, yes. And then I just kind of like went in and kind of fed them into the list. And then at the end, I went through and like moved some things around. So it's tough because, like, again, you're not only having to deal with this many houses, you have to try to really reach back in your brain and try to remember some of these, because and that was kind of how it helped me rank a little bit. Like, how well do I remember this house? Do I remember it being as good as I thought it was? Or because I'm sure if people go back and like look at our end of the year rankings, they're going to be like, well, hey, you ranked this there or this there. It's like, yeah, I know that, but I didn't take the time to go back and relist all the episodes to find that out.
No, but, and things change.
Of course, yeah.
Jamie, how did you start and kind of go at your list?
Well, unfortunately, I'm quite the procrastinator, and I love to give myself a challenge and wait till last minute for everything. So I did this kind of last minute, but I feel like if I did give myself more time, I would have done it this exact same way. I feel like my strategic planning is kind of chaotic. I basically started at number 1 and worked my way down to 50. And I just looked at the lists you gave us of all the houses and went back and forth and was like, you know what? I like this one. I like this one. A little bit better than that one, though. Didn't really like that one. So it was it was kind of easy to rank. But then that way that I did it, I had texted you guys and I was like, fuck, I missed one. What house did I miss? I missed one. And then Nick told me
I did the same thing.
I double put a house too. So I was like, damn, but I did really good first shot.
Jamie loved Fallout so much that she put it on the list twice.
I did.
I couldn't believe how high she ranked it. It's crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. In all honesty, Jamie, there's a couple in your list. I'm like, man, that's diabolical to put it in that ranking.
And it's funny.
And we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
You'll hear my reasoning. I'm very selfish, obviously.
What is funny is we did all of our lists completely differently. So I did I had the list of the 50 on one side, and I just kind of went like, all right, what ones do I know are in my top 10? So I just kind of went through and pulled the top 10, and then I went down to the bottom, and I was like, all right, well, what are my bottoms, like my bottom 10? And I kind of built from there, and then I went back to the top. I was like, all right, what almost made it? Like, I kept going, like, I built it from best and I was kind of left with the middle, and then I was sort of shifting stuff around. And there's a lot of factors in this list in particular with these years. So 30 we had COVID, so those houses were maybe dampered a little bit. Bride of Frankenstein and Tooth Fairy we saw a lot of. So did that affect things? We'll find out. Is there recency biased? Is 34 getting a little extra love, maybe because I know for myself, and I think all three of us, I think that was this last year, our most visited year, our most frequent year.
Yeah, probably.
Out of all of them. So we have the most time in those houses to notice small little nuances. We didn't take a Unmasking the Horror tour this year. We took it the past couple years. I know, but we took them the past couple years. So just some of those houses get a little bit more of a boost because we got some insight. There's a lot of factors in this list, and it's there's a lot. IPs, originals. Maybe on the very last episode, I'll do a breakdown of IP original, like where stuff landed and stuff like that. I didn't touch any of that, And there's some houses that I was like, man, I don't remember a lot. Like I remember stuff, but we're talking 5 years ago at this point. I can't store stuff in my brain like that. I don't have that encyclopedia brain. I can't keep it all in there.
No, I'm with you there.
So I'm real interested looking at the three of our lists, compiling the numbers, mushing it all together. I haven't really looked at the list in depth. So I'm still going to be a little surprised when stuff comes up, even though I have it in front of me. It's not something that I I know, like, oh, well, I know this is our 49. I know this is our 48. You know, if I look up, I will, but it's still going to be a little bit of a surprise to me.
I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, but like, it's nice that like we all kind of come into this with a little bit of a different opinion, and that's good. Like, I feel like I was worried that we would do this, and then like all of our lists would be relatively somewhat the same, but then at the same time, I know us well enough to be like, no, it's never going to happen. So
yeah, no,
it is nice to kind of see how different it is. So people will be kind of surprised, like where everything goes. So.
Well, looks like I'm the only one who's going to be surprised because Nick wouldn't let me see it. I didn't know you got to freaking see it, Seamus.
Oh, well, he put it all in my file.
The spreadsheet.
So I put up my spreadsheet, and I was like,
I know.
oh,
I just used my. He was because I had said something about a house being at a certain number. I said, "What the heck?" And he was like, "Don't look." And I was like, "We're about to talk about it in 30 minutes."
No, I wouldn't have looked, but like,
it's fine.
That's why I look at Jamie's. I'm like, damn, this is gonna be interesting.
I know. I honestly think you guys hate my list.
No, it's not hate. I mean, there's a couple you got. I'm surprised it's as high as it is, and I'm surprised there's a few as low as they are. But that's about it.
I think this first episode might not be as surprising.
Yeah.
But I do think the next two will be, because that's when like stuff really shifts.
Yeah, when we start getting into like the top 25, I think that's when things start to get a little interesting.
Maybe it'll be shocking for me because I don't know if these numbers you guys probably had as low as mine. The houses.
We'll see.
And keep in mind too, like as we go through these, obviously we're only doing like 50 to 35 tonight. It could be that like something ended up at like 48, but somebody had it a lot higher. You know what I mean? Like a lot higher than 35. So be interested to see kind of how that falls.
Yeah. So we might be talking about stuff that you might not think we would be talking about yet because somebody brought the average down or vice versa on the next episodes or whatever. But so that's what we got going on today, next week, and the week after that, which probably curses us. We're probably going to get some sort of announcement because whenever we pre-plan our episodes like this, something pops up and we're like, we have to scramble we'll talk about it later.
Put that one on the back burner.
Yeah. Like, we'll talk about the announcement in 3 weeks because we've already we've already set in stone. This is what we're doing. But all right. So before we get in, I do have a little funky beer. This is called Rocky Road Mind Over Matter. It is a double chocolate milk stout. This is from Magnifying Brewing. This is out in Fairfield, New Jersey. And this is a variant of Mind Over Matter, brewed to mimic their favorite ice cream. It's brewed with Dutch cocoa powder, toasted almonds, well, whatever, we know.
No.
And marshmallows.
Do you just not read the labels on any of the ones you get?
Nope.
I figured
they don't say almonds on the. Well, there are pictures of
It's
almonds.
like that dog that gets into the trash and just eats shit that he
What do you think?
eat.
What do you think Rocky Road is? It's got friggin' almonds in it.
Peanut butter? I don't know.
Honestly, I had no idea what Peanut Rocky Road was either. I've never
Really?
had it.
Oh my god, I love that.
I always thought Rocky Road was like a cartoon ice cream. Like it wasn't real. Like
yeah, it's like the 50s or something.
I've been eyeing that beer in the fridge and I was like, ooh, that's
dark.
pretty good. Oh my god, it looks like you're pouring chocolate syrup on camera. That's so funny.
Motor oil, baby.
Oil.
Motor oil.
Oh, do not overflow.
Oh no. Oh, we're using the same HHN cup. Except I have
not overflow.
Ginger
I should get my cup
tea.
then.
You stay right there where you
everybody.
are.
I'm gonna go match everybody. Give me a second.
Give me a sec.
This smells pretty tasty.
No, I was looking at it in the fridge.
Cool.
And I was like, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know how we can tie this in. I mean, mind over matter. We just got to kind of get into it, and that's just really what it is. But this is my last like funky beer that I got in there, so I got to go shopping this week and kind of stock up for the future. So, yeah, that's what we're going tonight. We'll see. I'll finally maybe stop buying almond-based beers now that everybody knows I'm allergic to tree nuts and bullshit like that. So I'll do my best to not die. We'll see. I'm gonna assume it's subtle almonds.
I mean,
we'll go with
you made
that.
it from the last
Faux
episode.
almonds.
You're back, so
yeah, I was fine. Just a little scratchy throat.
just
Nothing
a little. Nothing crazy.
Nothing to write home about. That's fine.
No.
Alrighty. Do we think we are ready to start?
I think so.
No.
Unless Seamus is not ready. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm ready. No. Let's go. I'm always ready. I had to match us. Everybody has the same cup now.
We all got the cup now.
Alrighty. We are starting at number 50. Number 50. And I probably should have done this. Off the top of my head, I probably won't remember the exact years that these are all at. I probably should have put that
I can kind of.
Yeah, that is a good point. Maybe. I don't remember the years either.
I forgot the years. That
I thought about putting it too next to the houses when I made my list. Damn it.
Yeah, I'll adjust that maybe for next time, and we can worry about that. But number 50 is probably to nobody's surprise. That is where Hellblock Horror ended up. The old bait and switch house that was supposed to be, supposedly supposed to be Evil Dead Rise, I believe it was. And that must have been 31? I don't remember. I'm not even going to try and guess the years because I'm going to get murdered for not
It was the
knowing
year that they put Farty McFart Pants up front, so
31.
Yeah.
So that was the pumpkin year. Yeah. So yeah, Seamus and Jamie both. No, sorry. Seamus and Jamie both had this at dead last.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
I had this at 49. So off by one spot. This got as close to a unperfect score as it possibly could have gotten.
It almost got Mr. Irrelevant. Almost. It was almost so Mr. Irrelevant.
I had to ruin it. I ruined it. I'm sorry. I put it at 49. I do. And
you put something else at 50?
Yes, I did put something else at 50.
Sorry, I got distracted for a sec.
We'll get to that one at some point. But any thoughts for Hellblock? Well, is this a surprise to anybody?
Not for me, at least.
I don't think it's surprising at all. I think we all kind of knew that this house was probably going to be just not a throwaway, but like we obviously knew it was supposed to be something else. They had to put something together. And I guess for what they were able to come up with, it wasn't too bad. But I think just overall, compared to everything else they've done, it's kind of hard to be unique when you're just reusing assets. So,
especially in a way that they tried to make it make sense, but it wasn't like Scary Ohio, or Welcome to Scary. It wasn't like Icons Captured, where it was like, oh, I get it. It was like, oh, somewhere in HHN lore now there is a magic prison that holds all of the worst monsters, ghouls, and demons. And we've never heard about it, but it exists. And somebody captured all these things. Somebody went through space and time and captured all these creatures and locked them in the prison. So, I think I did this house. I did this house a lot just because it was at the exit. It was always a 15-minute wait.
It was like always walk on. Like, you never had to wait for this house, which for good reason. I mean, it wasn't like a perfect house, but. And I gotta give the characters in this one credit because I mean I'm sure they were kind of like handed the shit end of the stick at that point. They were like, "Hey, you were supposed to be in this, and then it fell apart. So now we're gonna stick you in this house." And they did what they did what they could with it. And I think for what it wasn't bad. And I think we all got to remember too that like I don't think any of these houses were outright like done. Like dumpster fires, like there wasn't. I don't think in the last 5 years I've been through a house where I'm like, man, that was terrible. I mean, there were houses that I was disappointed with, but I don't think any of these were actually terrible. This one was just it really could never live up to, what it was going up against and what it had to be. So
something's got to be last.
Yeah, and I'm oh, there goes my camera. Like I'm. Not surprised, but kind of surprised that Nick didn't put this at 50 because based on what he put there, like I knew you didn't like your 50, but I didn't know you didn't like it that much. So I'm interested to talk about it.
Oh wait, yes, I might know actually.
I think because I did tell you what I put.
You did mention it actually.
Kitty cat knocked my damn camera over.
Kitty cat club. The Kitty Cat Club.
Kitty Cat Club.
But
that's a good hint, actually.
Yeah. So, Jamie, any final words on Hellblock Horror as to why it got the bottom spot for you as well?
It's just unfortunate because, like you said, we did get to run that house a lot of times, which was very enjoyable. It's always fun getting to zoom through the line and go right in. But it just wasn't very memorable for me, unfortunately. I know it was kind of thrown together last minute, and I know we've emphasized on episodes before that this is never nothing to do with the cast or any of the scare actors or anything like that. It's just It just didn't make sense, and I know it was last minute and everything like that. It did, like you said, it was kind of like walking through a jail, which could have been kind of cool, but it was kind of like a hodgepodge of mix of different past things. Go ahead, Samish. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I didn't mean I wasn't trying to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I just can't remember. Did we specify like what year did you start with us? I can't. Were you on the podcast when we did this house? Were you?
It might have been the year before.
Yet? Maybe. I'm just trying to remember because there might be some of these that you really didn't get to tell anybody your opinions.
Your thoughts.
I don't know how much ones you were on.
I don't know. Maybe I did.
I can't remember what year you started doing it with us. So.
Yeah, me either. I have a terrible.
These are all things we would have ironed out if we were a well-organized podcast. But we're good enough to be the number one Florida horror podcast.
Hellblock was in 2022.
I'll speak for myself. I'm not a professional.
And I'll go by years. Hellblock was 2022.
Was it 31?
So 31, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I forget when you hopped on. I mean, you've been on what, 2 years?
It's been on so long now. I don't even think about it. I can't even remember.
But... shucks. No. Yeah, I'm not sure though.
All right. Well, I think
we were nothing until you joined, and then you joined, and we skyrocketed into the stratosphere. Now we're the number one Florida horror podcast. It's obviously a reason for that.
You guys are too
I'm going to keep riding that thing now. I'm going to keep riding that. All right.
Trust me, I'm sure most of the listeners would agree with me.
Yes. Let's move now to number 49.
49.
This is where, well, there's not a huge variety. We all sort of had this in the bottom portion, that's for sure. But coming in at 49th was Museum Deadly Exhibits. Now, Seamus, out of all of us, you had this the highest. You had it at 44, not drastically high or anything, but the averages did bring it down.
Yeah, and I think it falls kind of right around what our opinions were that year. I mean, this is 2 years ago now. I think you and Jamie were kind of obviously a little bit harder on it than I was. I was willing to give it a little bit more of a chance. I think I agree with all the sentiment. Like, I think that it was definitely weak. It was a weaker house. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I think that was most people's problem with it, is that like, it just like, what are we going for here? And I can see where people were coming from. I think I just maybe liked the aesthetic a little bit better than others did. So, but I mean, obviously it's still bottom 10. Yeah. I mean, it's not like it was anything groundbreaking, but
yeah,
I don't know.
You didn't have this in your 20s or whatever.
No, God, no.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Jamie, you had this at 49, which is funny because now we're on, 2 house streak where you put it is where it landed.
Woo!
You put Hellblock at 50, you put Museum at 49. It's you're kind of spot on with the average at this point.
I thought about putting Museum last, honestly, but I was like, I can't be too mean. That house stressed me out. There was a lot of different stuff going on. I really wanted to enjoy it. It was just I don't know how to explain it. And then the Viking room, they decided to add that like dead fish weird smell to it. It made me nauseous every time I went through it. And just every time someone would like suggest going through the house, I would just like that Tim Robinson skit where he gets really agitated and just starts grunting. I'm like, don't really want to, but if you guys want to go, I'll wait. Yeah, exactly. I'll wait for you right out here.
Aw, really?
No, maybe I'm just being harsh. Like you said, Seamus, I feel like none of these houses were absolutely horrendous, that it's like, but
no, but I think the criticism of it was fair. I think and you two clearly weren't the only ones who didn't like it. I think I was the outlier. I think a lot of people just didn't like this house, and I can see why. And I think maybe part of me wanted I wanted it to be better than it was, and it stuck with me in that way, but I don't know.
Yeah, I remember being just very disappointed because I thought the idea of like a haunted museum or something in a museum is a really cool setting that we haven't really explored. And really the only like museum feeling that you got was like the lobby in the front entrance. And then other than that, you were just in rooms with like plaques. And that was like meant to be the, the room of the museum or the display or whatever. And it felt very like Jamie said, just all over the place. You were just kind of transporting to different eras and themes and vibes, which makes sense for a museum, but it
too.
Yeah, which it just didn't feel cohesive enough. It didn't really know. Again, it is funny. Hellblock and Museum, I think, have similar qualities in the sense that they were just kind of stuff thrown in there and it wasn't executed properly or conveyed to us properly as to why all this shit is going on. And, sometimes that helps or hurts in this case.
Yeah, agreed.
But I did have Museum at 47. So I kind of split the difference. So that's what kind of dropped the average down a little bit. But yeah, I don't think we have too much more to say on Museum Deadly Exhibits. I hope that they don't shy away. Yeah, I hope they don't shy away from maybe tackling a museum again in the future, but in a proper way. Because I do think that could be a very fun setting still. I'd be willing to roll the dice again and let them attack that setting one more time.
I would too. Mm-hmm.
Get Ben Stiller to come.
I was going to say, Nick just really wants a night at the museum house.
Hey, Giganto. Alrighty.
I'm made of wax, Larry. What are you made of?
Number 48. This is one now that is a little divisive-ish.
A little bit.
48. Spirits of the Coven. I will call myself out because I put this at my 50. This was the bottom of my list. And Seamus had it higher. Jamie had it close to me, but Seamus had it at 38. So there is a bit of a difference there.
38.
So we definitely brought the average down from Seamus for a lot. But
yeah, I just don't remember this house being nearly that bad. Like, I know that there was, again, it wasn't quite what we wanted it to be, but I don't remember it being. I remember you not liking it. So, like, having it low on the list doesn't surprise me. But I of everything that they've had in the last 5 years, I'm surprised you put it at 50. Only because I didn't think it was that bad. But then again, I mean, everybody's got, reasons for disliking things. I like the setting. I like the whole 20s aesthetic. Could they have done that something other than witches? Probably. I mean, I could see it maybe me falling more in love with the setting than the actual theme and the idea of it. Because there were definitely some weak points here, but I think overall enjoyed the theming behind it.
Yeah, this is one that I don't remember everything at this point because this was a while back now. I do remember this is similar to Museum for me, where I feel like I didn't get what was promised. I was really excited for a full-on 1920s speakeasy style vibe with witches, and it kind of became something different. Like, I remember going into like the mine shafts, and like we just kind of kept spiraling into more and more confusion.
Yeah.
And I was very excited for the speakeasy 1920s aesthetic, and I just didn't get that. So that's why it fell to 50 for me. Now, Jamie, you had it at 47.
I did.
So your streak of getting all of them spot on is shifted by one, so you're close. But why did you have this at the bottom as well? Similar sentiment to me, or
yeah, pretty much. It's funny that you said that we entered through a mine shaft part of the house. I barely remember doing this house. Either I didn't do this house a lot that year, or it was just not that impressive to me to where I don't remember it that much. I do remember one really cool scene. Could be confused with Haunting of Hill House, but I'm positive it's not. It was kind of when you first walked into the house and you like bust right, and there's that long hallway, and they have the really tall man that like comes out at you at stilts, because he got me one time really, really good. And ever since that one time, never saw him ever again. And I was also really excited for like the speakeasy kind of theme and stuff like that too. And I just felt like there was just a lot missing from the house. I don't know if maybe it was just me, but I felt like there was not even like empty spots, but just like not enough to fill the story of what they were trying to portray, I guess.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I do remember, I feel like a couple times, or more, a handful of times at least, I think there was some casting issues maybe, because I do remember going through and there being a lot of holes and like missing spots.
Right.
Which I get that happens too, but
it does.
And this was, this was the first year after the plastic. Was this the year they stopped?
This was 22, because this was the same year
as well, I think.
Hell Block, I think.
Right. So this was the first year they did it without the COVID. Like, don't sneeze on me class.
Sheet.
Yeah, because this was 30. This was 31. I'll have my list up so I can maybe better shoot this. But yeah, at this point, 4 years ago, because this was 2022.
Right.
But I probably should have watched walkthroughs of some of these videos just to get a better kind of.
I watched a couple, but I should have watched more. Yeah.
But I just remember being very, very disappointed with this house, and it had a lot to do with that. I just felt like they overpromised and underdelivered in this house. I just feel like I didn't get what they were trying to push out there, which happens. It's fine, but that's unfortunately why it put it all the way at the bottom for me.
Mm.
So let's move along now to 47, which is our first IP. We have an IP in the bottom 5.
Doesn't surprise me.
And that would be A Quiet Place.
I know that's right.
So Jamie flip-flops these two.
I did.
She had Quiet Place at 48, Spirits at 47. So she's been spot on all these.
Damn,
so
don't jinx it.
So
Nick,
you had this the lowest. Why? I mean, what about this one in particular?
Waste of an IP. I'll say it till the day I die. I'll never forgive them for doing this for me. It's happened A Quiet Place. Hyped it up for a movie that did the movie even the second, third movie, however many there are, come out. That's why they wanted to do it that year. It came out that same year, right?
I think it was because
the Quiet Day, the last
movie.
Quiet Place.
It was day one, but it wasn't anything to do with the house.
Yeah, it had
no,
the name was out
the
there.
Other 2 movies.
Yeah, yep. Again, just not a lot going on in there. I mean, it's kind of cool if you're a fan of the movie, I guess. But for me, liking IP so much, I feel like this is probably my least favorite IP they've ever done in the last 5 years, at least, as you could tell. But yeah, just not a lot going on in there for me that I could really enjoy. I mean, that first hallway was pretty cool, the dark hallway, whatever. It got me a couple times, but it's like, I feel like when you're kind of walking through in the conga line, you're going sort of quick, depending on what kind of run you had in the house or whatever. And just with like the different puppets and whatnot that they used, it sucks. I just wish they would have used like more like full-on scare actors and not just like costume and puppet and stuff. But yeah, just really not a fan of the movies, really not a fan of the house. I guess it's just, like I said, me being selfish, my own personal opinion.
Yeah, and this one was at 33, so a little bit more recent for us. I had this at 44. Seamus had it at 42. I think we all share similar thoughts on this. It was just maybe a little too experimental. I think the thought process was there, but you're not going to get a completely quiet conga line. It's just, it was almost an impossible hill to climb, I think. I'm also this is no surprise to anybody, I'm not a huge puppet fan in houses. I like people. I like the scare actors. I like what they can convey. And when you give them a little, tentacle arm or whatever the Quiet Place monster legs were, when you just give them that and stick them behind a hole, like, what do you expect them to be able to pull off? You're really putting yourself in a hole that is hard to dig yourself out of. So I don't know. That hallway was really cool. The way to start the house was really fun. That, the Quiet Place red neon sign kind of facade through the little cornfield into that completely pitch black tunnel. That was great. But then after that, it was just kind of like, okay. Okay. It was just a lot of the same thing. People giving you the the little girl holding her hearing aid and like making that really annoying like feedback sound. That was pretty much the house. But yeah, so Seamus, any other thoughts? Because you did just have this one just a little bit higher. But
I agree with you guys. I think there were just other houses I disliked less than this. So, but you're right. I mean, I feel like they nailed the whole theme of the movie in the first like 2 minutes in the house, and then after that, it was just nothing but a bunch of puppets. And although I like puppetry, I just think it has to kind of help a house, not just be the main attraction. Like it can't be the main part of it.
Yeah,
which is weird because Chupacabras was better, but I feel like Chupacabras there was still more going on. We haven't quite got to where that landed, but again, I think it's similar to that, but not as good.
I like your comparison where Fiesta de Chupacabras had a lot of the puppets, but it also had a lot of people. Versus this,
Right.
like you said, it can't be just the puppets can't be the main focus. They can use it as a prop or as a way to add to the experience, but when it's your main focal point, you're not going to win me over with that. It just comes off as cheap and lazy. But that's all I have really for a Quiet Place. So let's move on to 46.
I may lose my streak here.
You already lost your streak.
Well,
but you're
close enough.
You're still, I mean, all of yours in this bottom, like 10 or 8 or so, are all pretty close.
Nice.
This is where we do come across our first Universal Monsters house. Sorry, folks. That would be Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines.
Okay.
That's where we put that one. This is also, again, from 33. So back-to-back 33 houses. We were all pretty close. This landed at 46. I had it at 46. Seamus had it at 43, and Jamie had it at 44. So all of us weren't really too fond of this house. So, Seamus, I'll just go to you because you had it just that much higher, I guess. But
well, for one, everyone knows I'm the resident Universal Monsters hater, so like everybody can't stand my opinions on Universal Monsters. But I will say I am surprised this is the lowest one on the list, because I have another one that I hated so much more than all of the rest of them. I thought this one was weak, wasn't great. That's why I've got it at 43. But of all the Monsters houses, this is not the worst one. But I think you're right. I think the problem with this house was, we talked about it at the end of the event, the story didn't really make any sense. They didn't really hammer out what this story was. I feel like they didn't do a good job. They didn't do a good enough job conveying the story. And it was just, I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna do like a female monsters house, like a female only monsters house, there were better ways to do it. I think this didn't really quite hit the nail on the head for me. But again, I don't think it's the worst one, but wasn't great.
Yeah, the whole like Saskia Van Helsing like teaming up with the bride to go against Dracula's daughter, I think it was, and then they just kind of unceremoniously kill off Saskia, which, like, if you miss the one scare actor, you miss that whole story beat, which is like a huge moment. And it's just kind of, if you miss it, you miss it. And it just, I couldn't get behind the story, unfortunately. I was really pulling for it because I had started to really grow fond towards those Universal Monster houses and was really looking forward to kind of the new story. Every time they have a story, whether it's over convoluted or not, it's something a little bit different, and it's always a gamble as to like what monsters are we gonna get. And they did not a very good, but they did a pretty good job of creating variety in the monster houses and not really repeating too much. And this just felt, I don't know, it felt off. I don't know what it was exactly. The story was all over the place for me. But Jamie, what were your thoughts? Because you also had this towards the bottom as well at 44.
Yeah.
I was going to say I thought she had it lowest, but she doesn't. You do.
Yeah. This was unfortunately my least favorite Monsters house that we've had in the times, which is a little disappointing for myself. Being a lady and all, it was really nice to see a full female-led cast, from the show directors, the woman who did the score, everything all about it. It was great, and kind of like you were just saying, Nick, I feel like maybe just not having the familiarity with these characters kind of drove me away from it. I feel like this was for being a Universal Monsters house, it was a very niche house. I feel like if you're not familiar with those kind of, I guess you would call them side characters of monsters, Dracula's daughter, kind of stuff like that. Obviously, Bride of Frankenstein's a pretty big name, but this house didn't focus on her. If you're not really familiar with that, I feel like it didn't really resonate with you as much, and I feel like maybe that's what happened with me. I do think it was a beautifully set house. The scare actors were all fantastic. I like the way it was set up, but I just feel like it was tough to understand the story, like you said, Nick, if you didn't catch those certain parts, which I feel like majority of the times we went, I did not catch, and just compared to the other Monsters houses we've had, that I enjoyed just a bit better.
Yeah, I do remember there was a couple really cool settings.
Yeah.
Walking into, I think, like Dracula's castle or the foyer or whatever. That was a really nice scene. The outdoor scene with I think She-Wolf was also in there because she had killed Frankenstein's monster. And that whole like little, what is it? Like a traveling cart or whatever was outside, and you could walk by that. That was a really cool scene. They did try to attempt the bungee scare in here again with, I think, She-Wolf,
missed it every
never
time.
Saw it.
Every single
missed
time.
It every time.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a lot of set pieces or setups in this house that if you didn't hit it the right way, you didn't get it. Like when you're supposed to think it's like the Dracula character like flying over and setting off, like turning off all the candles. Like if you don't hit that at the right moment, then it doesn't, like, you miss it. It makes no sense. And I don't think I ever hit that
We only learn on the unmasking in the unmasking tour.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like a lot of the stuff you didn't even realize was a thing unless you went on the tour. And I don't know. I feel like to me that doesn't make a good house. Like if you have to go on a tour to get what the story is, to me that weakens the house. So
yeah. One of the other things I think that I don't know, this is just me completely guessing, but one of the parts that might have hurt it was maybe not getting enough cast for this, because if you are doing an all-female cast and somebody calls out, you only have 50% of your staff to pull from now, assuming it's an even split. It's probably not,
right.
But you can't, so say 2 people called out and you have, your fire squad or whatever of people that are there as a reserve. If you don't have any females on the fire squad that night or whatever, then that hole's not going to get full, and unless you pull them from another zone. And it was a lot of moving pieces. So I like the idea of doing the all-female cast, but definitely make sure that you have backups on backups, so that way you can move around people a little bit more without creating gaps for whether somebody is out for that day or whatever. Because I do think that was also an issue at times. I don't know if we just were unlucky on the she-wolf zipline kind of scare. They might have just not had that person there a lot. There could have only been X amount of people that were able to do it.
That's
and
what I've been
if
thinking
they weren't there,
too.
you didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little bit disappointing, because that is generally one of the more fun scares to witness in any house. Whenever they add a bungee scare, it's always,
even if it's not scary, you're still like,
yeah, it's a jaw-dropping moment.
Yeah.
So I think that's enough for the Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. Maybe we'll talk about more monsters this episode. We'll find out. Number 45, our second IP. And now I am 2 for 2 for getting these spot on with our averages. I had this at my 45th spot. Jamie had it at 46, and Seamus had it at 41. This is The Last of Us from 32. Probably the least visited house on this entire list for all of us.
I ran this house one time. I think.
Yeah. It wasn't a lot, I can tell you that much.
No, I was not waiting. The only times I did this house was at 1:55 in the morning. There was no way I was waiting an hour and a half, 2 hours for this house. No shot, especially in that parade house, like
you feel like you're
area.
trapped.
Well, and the worst part is like you would enter the house way out by the Coke place, the Men in Black, and you get halfway through the line and there's another wait sign, like another like time sign, because you have to wait another 2 hours. And you're like, I think at one night I got all the way to that point.
It was our first night doing it. Yes.
And I turned around, I said, I'm not waiting. I turned around, I walked out, and then people were like, and I'm like, you still got another like hour and a half to go.
I was like, oh my God, Seamus is about to flip out.
Yeah, I'm like, no,
I was about to flip out.
Yeah, Jamie was not happy that night. I remember that in particular.
No. Yeah, no. As soon as we saw those extra little gates.
Yeah, no. So Seamus had this the highest out of all of us.
Yeah,
probably because you have a little bit more love for the game than us.
Probably. Maybe. I also think that for what the house was, it was decent. It was a decent house. I think my biggest issue was the wait. Like I think the wait. I mean, I know that maybe that's unfair to judge it based on how long the wait was, but I feel like if it's gonna be that kind of wait, it better be something that knocks my absolute just knock me on my ass. Like I need it to be like the top 10 house, and it just wasn't. It was not even top half that year, and it's unfortunate for a house that you're stuck waiting 2 hours for, unless you stay till 2 o'clock in the morning and run it right at the end of the night. But not everybody can do that. I can't do that. I'm too old to do that. But yeah, I don't know. It just I think that this may also have benefited from all of the other ones being worse than this one. So all the ones that I have below it. So I think it may have gotten a little bit of a bump because of that too. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just bottom 10. I don't think this house could have done any better, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I remember enjoying the house to an extent. It wasn't my favorite. I thought it was a fine house. Like you said, it was an okay house, but if I'm going to wait that long, I need to have it justified by awing me in some sense, whether it's story, setting, characters, scares, whatever. And this was just kind of fun. It just, that's the tricky part with these IPs. They can be mediocre houses, but if it's a big IP, the wait's always going to be insane, just because people want to see their favorite thing, whether that's especially video games, but whether that's a Last of Us, whether that's a Five Nights at Freddy's, whether that's Terrifier, if there's an IP that you have an attachment to, Fallout, that you're probably never going to see like that as a house again. Like that's a very rare one-off. It seemed almost surreal that it came. Mm-hmm. So I get that the fan base beefed up those lines, but it was just kind of Joel and Ellie at times. They were only there a little bit. I thought from video game to scenery in the house, I thought it was very well done and accurate to that. I know The Last of Us craze, the HBO show, was in full swing at that point. Mm-hmm. I don't think they touch it again. I think, we're kind of done with the series. I think it did exactly what it was supposed to be. It was tricky. It's another, like, I don't want to say quiet place, but it's almost like with those monsters, it's like you got to be quiet around them. They go off of hearing. So it's just kind of like they're just kind of poking around and making the weird little clicker noises. Bloaters were like the coolest and scariest things, and there was like 2 or 3 of them in the house, and 2 of them were at the same time. So like it just kind of didn't necessarily completely work for me. But Jamie, you had this the lowest. So was it because the wait times, because we didn't do it enough, or you just don't care about the property?
I mean, the wait times definitely deterred me from doing it more. Like I said, this was probably, if I'm not mistaken, maybe twice, but I really do think I only ran this house one time. And then again, the property in itself, I just, excuse me, I had never gotten into the series. I know it was based off the video game, but I had also never really played the video games. I was familiar with them, but just not my thing. I mean, I've said it. So what's the phrase? Kicking a dead horse? That I'm just
beating
not
a dead horse.
Beating a dead horse. There you go.
Or whatever.
There you go. I'm just not into like the post-apocalyptic type stuff very much. It just doesn't really pique my interest. So, yeah, and it's funny too because I had A Quiet Place rated lower than this, and I did that house more times than I did The Last of Us. So it tells you how much I really didn't like Quiet Place. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you said, for what it wasn't a bad house. And when we did the little unmasking tour, it was really cool to learn all those little details. And like you from telling me how like pretty accurate it was, them lining up stuff from the game was fun to see and like check out. But just not really for me, unfortunately.
Yeah. Again, fun details that you're not going to notice if you're not taking that tour.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So let's move up to number 44. Now, this was our first tie, and this landed here because the one it was tied with, somebody ranked it higher than the way we ranked this one.
Gotcha.
So number 44, I think people might be surprised we didn't talk about this one earlier. This is Chucky, Ultimate Kill Count.
Damn. 44. What did I have this at?
You had this at 41.
Oh, okay.
Seamus had it at 37.
All right.
Yeah.
I brought the average down.
I saved its ranking.
Yeah. I put this at 48.
48. Oh, my God.
This was my bottom in the bottom
wow.
3. Just such a hodgepodge. You want to talk about hodgepodge. It just, they were trying to do some, again, I feel like a lot of the stuff in the bottom is me putting it there because I feel like I didn't get what was promised to me. They just didn't live up to what the expectation of what they said it was going to be. Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. Chucky comes and takes over a haunted house and he's actually killing people and blah, 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 blah. And then it was like just kind of some scenes from movies and then some from the TV show. And I get it. Chucky is that kind of character that is a little tongue-in-cheek. He can be a little shyster and talk shit to you, and like he's killing somebody while he's over the speakers being like, ha, watch out, bitch, or whatever the fuck he says. But it just, it didn't fit to that setting. I think the location hurt this one a little bit as well, because this was, what year was this? 32? This was 32.
Uh-huh.
And this was over at Fast and Furious. So
yeah.
I couldn't stand this house. And also, again, it was like an IP, so it did still have, and Chucky is a pretty notable name, so it did always have pretty decent waits as well.
Yeah, I feel like it was consistently like an hour usually.
Yeah, yeah, and it just, for me, that wasn't necessarily worth it. But Seamus, you had this at 37, so not too far off, but the highest. So was there anything that stuck out to you as a positive that pushed it up that far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was, to me, it was less, like, I know where you're coming from when you say it's like kind of like a mix and mash of all different kinds of things, but to me, that's kind of what I expected it to be anyways, so I wasn't as taken aback by it. I thought there were some key moments that were pretty cool. Like the puppet up front was actually really, really cool. I like that they got Brad Dourif to come in and do a lot of the lines. So it wasn't necessarily, to me, like bottom of the barrel, but again, it's still bottom half. I don't think it was anything special, and plus the weight didn't help it. Like, I feel like if the weight wasn't as bad and I got to do it a few more times, maybe my opinion would have changed a little bit, but I still think it was better than a lot of the ones I have below it. I just, I think there may have been more they could have done with it that they weren't able to.
Yeah, I agree. Jamie, what were your thoughts on the cuck?
The Chuck. Well, contrary to your opinion, Nick, I do have to say that I wasn't really disappointed with this house. I figured it was going to be a Chucky house, and we got a lot of Chucky. Matter it be puppets or animatronics or people jumping out dressed as Chucky. I get what you mean. It didn't really follow that meta aspect of Chucky running a haunted house and killing people, blah, 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 which I've never really been into the meta thing anyways. So that didn't really matter to me. That didn't follow that storyline. I just thought to myself, oh, this is a best of Chucky haunted house. But, I'm not a Chucky hater like Nick. I don't mind him. He's not my favorite slasher per se, I guess. But I totally get where you're coming from because, like I said, I mean, there's the houses on here I probably have ranked pretty high just because I like the property or the theme of the house, and that's just because I enjoy it. It doesn't matter if someone else does. So I get it. You had to rank the Chuck pretty low. I didn't know that low, though. Damn.
Was this the first?
Did not enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Was this the first house with the guest activated triggers or the GATs?
Oh, yeah, those were fun, too.
I don't know if it's not the first, but it did have them. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I forget what they
the fireplace was one of them too.
Fireplace was one of them. I forget what room it was, but like I forget what it was. But
I know, and there was another one too.
There were a couple of them. I know that this one, like, it probably had the weakest break in that Fast and the Furious location. Like, it was super like jarring that it kind of just ended and then it kicked up again. Mm-hmm. Whereas every other house in that area seemed to at least make sense as to why it was there. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a downfall as well because it was just like one character dressed as Chucky.
As like the Chucky doll. Yeah.
And then there was a couple other ones that we were supposed to get this like very big head Chucky, but they didn't measure correctly or something. So like we didn't end up getting it until towards the end of the season. Yeah. But it was like this big headed Chucky that I think Hollywood had that we just didn't fit properly.
They did. And it looked really cool in the video.
Which I can't say that would have saved it for me. Maybe it would have got up to 47. I don't know. But yeah, that's where it landed for me. So let's get to number 43. And this is one, like I said, this one was tied with Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. But because somebody, me, ranked this higher than anybody ranked Chucky, it got that boost. And this would be from last year. Man, we got a lot of IPs. Jason Universe.
All right. That's fine.
So cool. What saved it was I ranked it at 36.
36?
Seamus ranked Chucky.
Oh my God.
Seamus ranked Chucky at 37. I want to hear it, okay?
I thought about putting Chucky right in the middle too, but then I was like, I had to move some stuff around.
Yeah. Well, I have it at 36. 36 isn't even top half. Okay, like what are we talking about here?
I don't know.
This isn't like I put it at number 2 or something crazy.
I almost put it last.
Yeah, well, you didn't. So there.
That was close.
Right.
I am the outlier. So I had this at 36. Jamie had this at 43. And Seamus had it all the way at 47.
I know that's right, Seamus.
Jason Voorhees.
I helped
more
him
like
out.
Jason Voorhees.
Okay, I thought we heard that joke enough, all right? Come on. little throwback. This is like going to be a throwback episode to how many like funny things do we remember that we used to say in past years.
You know what? This is all because they didn't give me the fucking
funny.
Jason Smorhees, and now I'm just going to hold it against them for the rest of ever.
Well, that's a fair point. But I had fun with this house. I really did. It was exactly as advertised. It was just Jason. Jason playing the hits. This is probably the best utilization of that split of the Fast and the Furious. I don't think anybody can argue that. I think it did it better than whatever else we had. Chucky and then the Black Phone and Major Sweets didn't even have a break. So I think it utilized that outdoor space the best out of any house in that area.
I'll agree.
Yep.
It was scary. It wasn't, drop dead, scare the shit out of you, as people were saying going into the season, saying this was Insidious times 10. I don't think that was the case. But I had a lot of fun with it. I got to see Jason Voorhees back at Halloween Horror Nights, which is something I wasn't sure I was going to see at least this soon. So I don't know. Seamus, what put it at 47?
Well, I mean, I know it's a joke, and I'm overusing the joke, but this house was boring. I didn't think that there was nothing special about it. I mean, to me, like, the most memorable part was the break with Jason's mom. That was the only part that I clearly remember, and otherwise, like, it just didn't. I don't know. It just wasn't that good. It's not at 50, so everybody can't get mad at me. I didn't put it at 50. Right? Yeah. Because I know there were a lot of people this past season that were like, "Oh, you talk so much shit about Jason's the best house they've done in years," and I'm like, "No, it's not."
It's crazy.
Like, I will say, I think maybe, and again, this is maybe unfair to it, but I feel like some of the glazing that it was getting really soured me on it, because it's like, guys, it ain't that good. I mean, I get it, it's Jason, and you guys love Jason, and that's fine. You can have a favorite character, but like, that doesn't make the house like unbelievable. Like, I mean, there are a lot better houses than this one, and again, like I told you, for me, I think what ruined it the most was that last little bit, that last hallway. Like, to me, that's not interesting. Like, just boo hole all the way, nothing else. Like, to me, that's not fun. I get that, like, I'm scared, but like, that doesn't speak to me. I need a house with ambiance. I need a house with story. I need a house with, with view, like with vistas and visual, candy. Like, that just doesn't have it for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I do wish that last hallway was maybe, because I feel like we went through, I don't think it was 3 portions, but maybe it was 3. It was either 2 or 3. It could have been cut in half. Obviously, by the way they chose to lay out the house, I don't think it could have been, but I think if they had just like killed the lights that much more and made it super scary, it would have not felt as boring. But because you could see like all of the holes, it came off a little like, all right, he's coming out from here. All right, now this guy's coming over here.
It just felt like something we would have put together. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that what we did was bad, but like, you're Universal. Like, you should be doing more. Like, if my point is like, if you didn't have the space to do anything with it beyond that first part of the house, then why would you put it there?
Yeah.
Like, that was poor planning on your part. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No. So Jamie, what were your opinions as to why it got to 43 for you?
Yeah, I unfortunately thought Jason was a little boring too, and it really does suck because, like you said, Seamus, I feel like that kind of irritated me too, that everyone was hyping it up so much, saying it was this much scarier than Insidious, this and this. Oh my God, you people are gonna believe it. I'm like, did we do the same house? Like, am I that crazy? And that's like the thing too, that room could have been scarier. You're correct, Nick. If they would have made it darker in there, I think it would have worked better and it would have been a little more scarier. But I feel like half the time I was walking through behind these people too, they would be zipping out of there and they would get all the scares right in front of me, and then I would miss them. There'd be no Jasons popping out at me. I think all the times we ran that house, I maybe had 2 or 3 Jasons pop out at me at the time. And it's tough to explain because it was, like you said, a Jason-centered house, and there was a lot of Jason, but I just needed a little more variety, you know? And, I mean, I'm saying that as someone who hasn't really kept up with all the Friday the 13th movies. I've seen like 2 or 3 of them, so I really don't even know what the other Jason should look like, but I know it's not all the same one we saw in there. They gotta be different.
Yeah, well, that was like, so like the whole first half was this new Jason, which we haven't seen.
Yeah.
So that it felt like that was a little
friggin' Mike P.
forced.
Nelson.
Yeah, it was a little forced in there. And then we did get that hallway of like Jason variants, but I would have enjoyed seeing, other Jasons and other scenes from movies that were omitted. I mean, fuck, just throw Jason X in there, like throw something wild in there, wacky in there.
He's
like,
all burnt up, right?
Well, he's Uber Jason and Jason X. He's got like the metal mask. And he's in space and shit.
Space.
Yeah, that's a fun one. It's a really
Clearly, I've never seen it.
But yeah, it's just classic 2000s or very late 90s. I think it was 2000s. I think that was like 04 or something. But yeah, I I didn't put it up like crazy high. I'm a realistic, at least semi-realistic fan of these houses and
this list just started,
find the placement. What's that?
So this list just started, so I'm sure we're gonna get there eventually.
We'll get to him, but like as big of a Jason fan I am, I don't look past the faults, right? I still put it, I think, at a reasonable spot for my enjoyment. So let's move along now to number 42, which is something that I think people would have assumed was going to be dead last on this list for us. This was coming from last year. And this is where Grave of Flesh lands at the number 42 spot.
You had it higher than I thought you would have.
Yeah.
I mean, you as in Nick.
I did, yeah.
Jamie doesn't surprise me. I know Jamie liked this house, so that's why I'm surprised. I'm not surprised it's as high as it is, but I'm surprised I was lower than you were.
So I nailed this one. I had this at 42. Jamie had this up at 37, which is not... I can't really say anything because I just had Jason at 36.
You just had... Exactly.
But she has Grave of Flesh, which I think if you polled everybody is probably arguably a worse house than Jason was, and yet it landed above it. So what forced your hand to put it so high? You can't even speak on it.
No, it's just so funny because I talked so much shit about this house when it first got announced. I said, Grave of Flesh.
This is a scare zone. I don't even remember.
I know what I said. I can't even remember it, quote unquote. Exactly. So trust me, my hopes were not high for this house. But man, that scene where you're walking in through the graveyard, you walk in under the gravestone in the cemetery with the roof opened up and the water dripping down, and then kind of into the deep caverns of hell with the alien-esque vibe to it also, in the cocoons and pods and all the skeletons coming out in suits. It was just so ridiculous that I liked it so much. And I don't know why I really ended up enjoying it. I thought it didn't make sense whatsoever, and I loved every minute of it.
It definitely
and
did
everyone's
going to
be like, wow, you were saying all these houses before didn't really have a storyline that you could follow, but you like this one? Yeah, it does. I'm getting so hyped up I knocked my phone over. I'm very visually enticed by houses, I guess is a good way to put it. I love looking at things, and I feel like there's cool things to look at that you wouldn't think would be in a house called Grave of Flesh. So
yeah, like dirt and stairs that are going upside down or something.
Oh, that was a cool route. The blood dripping
up
the
stairs. Seamus, why don't you just counter this? You had this at 46. Why don't you counter every point that Jamie said?
This house
prove
is only
why those were bad.
This house is only above Jason because it had like an ounce more story than Jason did, but yeah, it still didn't have anything going on. And to be honest with you, if Jason hadn't had that second half, I may have had it a lot higher than it is. I don't know. But Grave of Flesh was awful. This house was, I mean, again, I said that none of these houses were bad because I don't think there were bright spots. Jamie, you're right. That when you first walk into the graveyard,
real cool.
You really kind of drew you in. That scare actor was doing a really good job, or the scare actors, whoever played that guy. And then walking into the grave and looking up and seeing like the cemetery, like the what you have like a funeral with like the opens, everybody can kind of sit there and mourn. But then it just kind of goes completely off the rails. Like after that, you're just like dirt, weird Ghostbusters like scene and stairs to nowhere. And now we're in space, and it does kind of like it got off the rails really fast. And I think just. Yeah, it wasn't.
Now we're in space. Now we're in Stranger Things 5 and fucking Vecton's lair.
Yeah, no, I mean, this felt like, to me, it felt like Hellblock in the sense that they just didn't know what to do with it. They were just like, space aliens and dirt. Like, makes sense, right?
Yeah,
like, and you're like
going further down into hell or something, or purgatory.
I guess. And then it had those weird, like,
there you go, Nick. So you're onto it.
Things that like were spinning or whatever.
Yeah, like the DJ room.
Yeah, I didn't understand anything that was going on
high.
here.
I felt high as shit going through that house.
Again, I feel like this is one of those houses that would have benefited going on the tour, because maybe they would have at least given you a better explanation as to what was happening.
So you know what's funny? I don't want to know.
That ruins the house for me.
Exactly. I don't want to know.
I remember talking to, it probably was maybe Duff or Jess, and I think they had done the tour, and I don't think they got any of the answers they were looking for either. Like the tour guides were like,
yeah,
well, I don't know. I really can't. I don't have answers for that one.
It's for you to explore your own conclusions.
Yeah, I think this one was a very like, it's up to your interpretation.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
Bitch, I'm not interpreting these houses. I'm not making these houses. You tell me what's going on. I don't know.
And there's a way
different.
There's a way to do that, and this was not it. Like, there is a way to make a house where it's like we kind of leave it up to your interpretation a little bit. This was just not it.
Maybe you were supposed to feel like you were teleporting, because that's what it kind of felt like.
Well,
sure.
I mean, okay, if that's what they wanted you to feel like it, they didn't nail it. That's for sure.
This could have been the Donnie Darko house that never was. Doesn't make sense. Figure out your own interpretation. Time travel.
I guess so. Look at this.
There was probably a bunny in there somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
He was buried, though.
No, this one was, again, another one that I walked into. Like, this was, I think, the one we, on opening day or whatever, we definitely knew the least about this house, which is kind of what intrigued me. And then when we walked in and you see that giant, facade, and it's like, oh, this is really cool. Like, this is, I'm digging this. Like, we're getting like some, not Catholic, but like classical, like haunted cemetery death, like afterlife, like
that,
something like that. And then you get to that second scene where you're looking up at the grave and it's dripping water, and you're like, oh my God, like where are we gonna go next? Like, this is so, like, I'm in. And then it's just dirt wall, dirt wall, dirt wall, dirt wall. I'm like, okay, like that just went over like a wet fart in church.
What else do you think's going to be down there?
I don't know. Continue with the graveyard stuff.
Underground graves?
I didn't want to go underground. I wanted to stay on ground. Well, I wanted to see what was going on up there.
Well, you're dead. That's where it led you.
Yeah, so like you died.
The thing is, though,
start.
I mean, I know that we all said the same thing to, like, when I remember when they announced this one and Nick sent us the picture of it, and I know I was like, oh God, that sounds not good.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I had the same reaction I did when they announced Goblin's Feast, but Goblin's Feast was good. So it's like,
yeah.
I didn't know where to go or what to think about it. So I was kind of cautiously hopeful for it. And it just, it just got really weird.
I guess I'm just a simple gal.
Apparently.
Oh, trust me. There's going to be other ones on this list that are probably going to really piss you off, Jamie.
Oh, I know. Because I know my top 4 pissed you guys off already, which is
you fucked a lot of stuff up.
Which is insane, but hey, like I said.
Everybody that wants to hate on some of the rankings on episode.
Uh-oh. Oh, we lost him again.
Oh, we lost him for a sec. That's okay. He was going to say anyone that wants to hate on some of the rankings can blame Jamie because she picked her favorites, which is what the task at hand was to pick your favorite houses 1 through 50.
When a top 3 house ends up in like the 14th spot, we'll know why.
Right, exactly.
And moving now to number 41. This is probably the moment everybody's been waiting for.
Way too fucking high for this. This is incredible how high this is.
This is where everybody was waiting for.
Oh my God.
To hear Seamus's thoughts one more time.
Oh God.
I'm nervous.
I don't know
all the way from HHN32.
What is it?
Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate.
Okay. All right.
41.
That's reasonable.
At 41.
Now look. I didn't put it at 50, everybody, so relax.
Nope.
Like,
surprising.
Calm yourself. It wasn't even at 49. I had it at 48. Hey,
I probably
fair.
had this the highest, honestly.
That's fair. No,
so
you didn't, actually. That's the
Jamie
wild
had
thing.
this at 36. I actually had this the highest at 32.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
I think
diabolical.
My memories of it are that I did end up having fun with it. You know, as ridiculous and for all the faults that it had, I just thought it was whimsical and fun. The settings were really cool. The big castle scene was cool. The dual ending was something we hadn't seen in a little while, so that was a fun little addition, even though it really didn't create that much extra length to it. It was just interesting. I thought the characters were fun. The little frozen room was pretty interesting. You had like the fairy forest. That was fun. I remember dogging on this a lot, but now my memories of it are a little bit more fond than maybe initially I had it. I think maybe I came to the revelation during the season that I didn't dislike it as much as we had thought leading up to it. We saw a fantasy house. We're not going to get those too often. I did enjoy it. This is a house that we're never going to see a dueling dragons choose thy fate house again. This was probably a one-off, very random, extremely random draw for them to pull out, and funny that they chose to tackle a roller coaster as a haunted house. Now I know it's not just a roller coaster, it's a whole story, yada yada yada, but they still chose to do it, and that's interesting to me. I had fun. One of my favorite times was going through this house with Seamus, and I think we must have been with other people. I think Jess was there, and Seamus was dancing around and just having a good old time. More poking fun at it, but he was having fun. So Seamus,
well, that's all that matters.
48. Anybody that's been listening since 32 isn't surprised by this, but maybe for anybody that has joined the podcast or listened to us after 32, say they joined at 33 or even last year, they probably never heard your thoughts and opinions on
let's just put
dragons.
it this way. If you really want to see me crash out, as the kids say these days, you should go back and listen to our episodes leading up to this event, because I don't know what the hell this was supposed to be. Now, look, I've said it before. If you were a fan of the ride, and I know you missed the whole story. There was a story, this, that, and the other, and you were in the queue line. It all made sense. And I'm like, I get that, but this was a Merlin house at Horror Nights, and everybody was talking shit about the weekend not being horror, and this, that not being horror, and this not being this, and this not being that. Well, Dueling Dragons is not horror either, everybody. You just all had a really, rosy view of it because you remember the roller coaster when you were a kid, and you're like, I love this ride. And then when they get rid of it, you're like, I'm so bad. Look, it wasn't awful. I mean, none of these houses were quote unquote awful. I mean, again, they probably put stupid amounts of money into this. Why they did, I don't know, but that's not me to decide. But I don't know. This house was not great. Didn't like it. Didn't like the story. Didn't like the weird wizard monster thing throwing fireballs at each other. The two dragons at the end were some of the cheapest looking props I think I've ever seen them do. I mean, that was horrible. I mean, it was like, at least redeem yourself and put
static,
decent, moving dragons that actually had some life to them. No, they were literally from the roller coaster, and
just static figures.
I mean, look at Galkin last year, and that last big monster, and that big puppet monster in Galkin. You couldn't do that with dragons. I mean, think of the fucking clown from Killer Clowns of Outer Space with a big ass blow up clown. Again, they have had some really cool final set pieces, and that one was just look, it's the dragons from the ride. You remember? Look, the dragons, and you're like, cool.
This one's red. This one's blue.
It's boring. I don't know. I'll admit I think it was unique to do the whole choose your fate path thing or whatever, go red or blue. And I think that was kind of a cool little idea. I like when they do things like that. Overall, this house it's not for me, man. Just not for me. That's why these lists are personal. That's why you can have this house at 5. I don't care. I had it at 48. That's just how it works.
If you don't like it, make your own podcast, make your own goddamn list.
Make your own list.
Jamie, you had this at 36, so we split the difference. I had it the highest. Seamus had it the lowest. You're kind of right in the middle of both of ours. What are your memories of this house?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I feel like that's a quote from Rick and Morty, too, what I'm about to say. I feel like that's maybe why you said it. It's fun and whimsical. And, and I feel like you don't see that a lot in houses. It was definitely a dark fantasy style house, and I'm not typically a fantasy fan or stuff like that, but I do think the idea of them basing it off this story and off of the story that got turned into a roller coaster is pretty cool, and I don't think has been done before, if I'm not mistaken. But like you said, Nick, I feel like this is something we won't see again, so it's fun when we get those one-off things like that, and even if it's something I'm not that interested in, I still always had a really fun time walking through it. Like you said, I really liked the ice room, the Merlin's Forest that you walk through in the beginning. I just thought it was really cool and different for a house than stuff we usually see.
It is such a different house that if we had to pick 10 houses to go back to, I might have thrown this on the list just because it's so different and weird. And you're not going to find this in any, like you can find pieces of some houses in other houses. This, like, you're not going to find a piece of this really in any house. The closest thing you could say maybe is the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, like frozen rooms are similar. But other than that, this is very, very different than
it is unique.
Everything else.
That is for sure.
Unique New York. Unique New York. Let's move to number 40. So we are rounding out our bottom 10. Another IP. This list is not boding well for Jamie and her love of IPs, but we still haven't really hit one that we are very spread on. I think Dueling Dragons might have been the biggest difference we've had so far. This one, we're all kind of similar, and Jamie actually had this one at the lowest, and that would be Stranger Things 4 from 32 as well. So, Jamie, what put this at 42 for you?
I just feel like we actually kind of recently talked about Stranger Things. I feel like one of the previous episodes in this house in specific. And as much as I love Stranger Things as a series and as a whole, very sad that it's done for. It just felt a little lackluster for me. I feel like there was a lot of cool scenes that could have been taken from that season that I feel like were just missed in that house. But then I watch walkthroughs from the other coast, and a lot of those scenes that we had called to in like other episodes and stuff when we were first doing speculations and whatnot back a couple of years ago, a lot of those scenes were in that house over there. So maybe if they would have like flopped it around and just switched out the scenes and implemented some different things, I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more. It felt a little empty for me, I guess. Maybe it was just a lot of the empty spaces in the rooms and the curtains on some of the walls to kind of distract you or make it look like you're transporting into the sand pit abyss, which was just a bunch of like tan colored walls and just different little things like that I feel like if it was a little more detailed, maybe I would have ranked it a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm. Now, Seamus, out of the three of us, you had this the highest, not that much further away from me. Just for context, I had it at 37, Jamie at 42, Seamus had it at 34. And we're none of us had this drastically high, but what worked for you that maybe Jamie didn't work with?
I think for me it was more just it met the spirit of the show. I feel like it nailed all the major beats from the show. I do admit that some of it did feel a little empty. So I agree with Jamie there. And I think it also is just another one of those houses that kind of just benefits it from being better than a lot of the stuff I had ranked below it. But I still think they did a pretty good job with the casting. I think they always seem to nail the casting, especially with the Stranger Things houses. Plus I really like the Vecna costumes looked really good. There were a few good set pieces, good set scenes, like when you're going into the trailer or the house, at one point, and then when you go into the upside down, it's the same scene, but it's like the upside down trailer. So I liked some of the stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool. But outside of that, not the best Stranger Things house. I mean, there have been better houses, and I think at this point it was kind of just fatigue, which ranked it pretty low. It's like, we've done this before. We've done this like 2 or 3 times now. How much more can we really milk out of this franchise? I know that it's a big draw and people like it, but I feel like it's kind of like Jamie has said before, like a waste of an IP. I feel like you're wasting an IP slot with Stranger Things at this point.
Yeah. What was the most disappointing part about this house was that it is, you can't even argue this was the best season. Stranger Things 4 was the best season of all the seasons. I am pretty firm on that stance. And it was there was so many opportunities in that season to craft a really, really exceptional house, and they fell short, in my opinion. They took shortcuts. There's one scene where it's literally just like black tarps and a clock on the ground, and maybe a character would walk by it sometimes, but it was like, I feel like they just cut corners on this house when this could have easily been the best Stranger Things house. It could have been one of the best houses, maybe not number one or, whatever, but it could have been a lot higher than it was. And, the Vecna's lair was really cool, but again, it's just, they've fallen into this love almost since maybe that year of cornering with tarps and like projections. We saw it a little bit in Fallout as well, where it's just like cheapy, and that's not what Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios should be conveying. That's an acceptable way to tell the story or advance the story, or just use it as decor or whatever. If anything, just build a wall. Do something other than just put essentially a green screen up and blast a background on there and expect us to take it and be like, oh, I love this. This was great. Thank you so much. I just felt a little let down with it. Some of the biggest moments, you had Dustin and Eddie doing the whole Metallica style scene, but I don't think it didn't hit as well as what the show did. Again, like with the bats on the screen, it was just the background of flying bats. It was a little anticlimactic there. The Vecnas, I thought the costuming was okay at times, but bad at some times as well, because I'm not a big person. If I'm seeing Vecna eye to eye, that's not good. You don't need 5'9" Vecnas. They're supposed to be like in that 6 foot range and towering.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
I do agree with that.
There was one time I saw Vecna with Converse on. That took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point too.
That was a little.
I think with this one, they just tried to do too much. There was like, you needed to like trim some of the fat. Like you didn't need to do every last thing in the show, because there were some really good beats in this. I think the scene where you're walking in between Vecna and Eleven fighting, I think that was a really effective scene. And again, some of the other things with the scene with Max and her being like lifted up, I think that was a really good scene. But you're right. I think there was a lot of it that was also just like Jamie said, empty. Too many big stretches of nothing, which kind of takes you out of it. And you're right. Yeah, I think Vecna is supposed to be a big, imposing, scary guy. And if he's staring at you, like if he's staring up at you, it's like, I don't need no short King Vecnas. I need,
not the spot.
You're right. I need like 6'4" Vecnas. But
yeah. And I really wanted to see Max on like an actual character on like a harness and being raised up. Like if you could use bungees, like you could use a pulley. True. Like that would have been really cool if, we had an actual grave scene of her lifting up, not a projection of it. So that's
especially if you're in a soundstage, you don't really have an excuse. You should be able to do that if you're doing it in a soundstage. It'd be one thing if you were doing this in a tent, but
but they opted for the soundstage and they didn't really use it to its full.
Yeah, they didn't really use it to its full use for sure.
But yeah. Any final thoughts on Stranger Things before we move along?
Other than I'm kind of nervous about them doing Stranger Things again. I know we're not really talking about this year's event, but I just feel like after 4, I don't know if maybe I'm the only one that feels this way. I'm a little nervous about them doing this again.
I can do without it, but I know that they're gonna want to.
Of course, they're gonna do it. Yeah,
yeah. Yes,
it's gonna have whole scenes of like people crying. That's all it's gonna be.
Yeah, I could probably do without it and live just as happy as I would.
Right.
So, but let's get up to the next one, number 39. Now, this is where these next 2 or 3, I think, are going to surprise.
Well,
people
it's going
to
alienate. It's going to alienate some people, I think.
Did we skip 40?
The Stranger Things 4 was
Stranger Things was 40.
Was 40? Okay, I just want to make sure. Yep. Sorry, I was trying to keep
39. I had this. Well, so Seamus had this the lowest at 45. I had this at 41. Jamie had this smack dab in the middle at 25. And we are, of course, talking about Triplets of Terror.
That's all right. I kind of figured you guys would rank that one low. That's okay.
So, Jamie, why don't you take the lead on this, because you clearly had this the highest. This is our biggest gap amongst the three of us.
That's
to
so
this
funny.
point.
Huh. Yeah, well, I mean, I was a fan of Triplets of Terror as soon as I saw the art that they had posted for it when they announced the house.
The shitty key art.
The shitty key art, yes, I loved it because it's very much hellbilly horror, which I'm a big fan of, if you don't know. I thought the house was pretty fun. It sounds kind of basic, but I like walking into houses that are styled like a house. I thought the opening scene was really cool when you walked in. When you walked in and they were kind of all at the birthday table recreating the murders and stuff like that, you would get a good scare coming out right from that front door. And then when you walked into the kitchen and you have him stabbing the guy in the back in the refrigerator, but then you have the other scare actor coming from the front when you're trying to walk this way, a really good double scare in that room. I just feel like all of it just kind of felt like you stumbled upon a Hills Have Eyes movie set, or like the Strangers movie set, and you walked in and now you're stuck in this house with these people and they're going to kill you. And I don't know, I just thought it was really fun. I liked the masks. I thought the costumes were a fun design. It kind of lost me a little bit when it did kind of go on like the podcast room and like that kind of story aspect that you walked into. Kind of threw me off a little bit because I already thought it was cool enough knowing the backstory as what it was. I thought that was enough for me. I didn't really need more in depth to it. Like I said, I'm a simple gal, but overall, I feel like in general, I kind of like the theming that this house had. So I already knew I was going to like it from the get. So
yeah. Now, Seamus, you had this the lowest, so I'll let you kind of take the lead and I'll pick up the scraps.
I mean, to me, it was just boring. It's just another one of those houses that, like, I get the appeal of it. It didn't do much for me. I mean, I like slasher houses, but much like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't know. I just felt like it was like meh. I'm not like dying to do this every time I come, and I just not my cup of tea. I think I'm the opposite of Jamie. I wish they had kind of they leaned more into the whole like true crime aspect of it. Yeah. That to me, it would have been more interesting than just another, slasher, killer, bloody, gory, with no real purpose other than the fact that they're siblings. I mean, I get why people like it. It was definitely gory. If that's what you're looking for, you got what you wanted. Just wasn't my cup of tea. And again, I had it at 45. I had 5 houses below this one. So
yeah, I had it at 41. Similar thoughts. I think having the podcast thing could have been really cool, like audio overlay of being like, and now in this year, it would kind of introduce us to the different years, because I think that's, if I'm remembering correctly, that each kind of different scene was them kind of growing up. Like we did see like, I forget what their years, but they came back like every X amount of years to kill on their birthday or whatever.
10, I think.
Maybe
something like
sure.
that.
But it was like, if you had that audio overlay of just quickly giving you like an introduction to like, and on their whatever-th birthday, they did, the whatever kill, the Trailer Park Massacre, or, like they each had like each decade or whatever had a different motif or whatever. I thought that would have made the story come across a little bit better. If you're not going to use the podcast overlay like they didn't, I would have just got rid of the whole podcast thing, because it felt very out of place. Mm-hmm. So I that part kind of pulled it down for me. This was a house that I think I ran a lot as well. It's funny that the house is on the bottom. I guess it's not that out of the blue, but a lot of what we view as worse houses, we ran the most because they had typically the lowest weight. So this one was one of those houses that it was kind of paired right up there with, oh God. So this was 33. So next door to it was Insidious. So it was always like, and then Ghostbusters was at Fallon. So this one was one that was like, oh, okay, Insidious, 85, Triplets, 25. Okay, I'll do Triplets and then I'll hop into Insidious. Like we visited Triplets pretty frequently because of the short wait time. So I do get a little extra love for it. I wasn't far off. I had it at 41. It's at 39 on the list. I think that's a fair spot for it. Mm-hmm. I think people might have assumed it was going to be a little bit lower, if I had to guess. I think that's what maybe the general consensus would have been, but it landed at 39.
Don't you worry, guys. I'm here for the little people.
Well, don't you worry, because here's probably going to be the biggest surprise of the night.
The biggest surprise of the night.
This is the house, and this is the
Definitely
biggest,
the most controversial one of the night.
38?
This is the
38?
biggest gap we have. This is our 38th house.
Might be the biggest gap out of. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, I'll have to look
There's
around
a few.
at that.
There's a few that are on our next episode. I think that are going to be pretty big gaps.
Give it to me. I'm nervous.
Seamus had this at 49.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's awful.
Oh. God.
I had this at 18,
which is
18?
absolute
Wow, oh
wild
God.
work.
Oh my god.
Absolute wild work.
Jamie had this at 39. This is Universal Monsters Legends Collide.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This
And remember how I
is
said like I am
not too crazy.
I am
Seamus, you had this house at 49.
I am absolutely
bonkers.
surprised that Bloodlines was below this. That's why I said
What?
I'm so surprised that Bloodlines was the worst. Legends Collide?
At least you knew who was in the friggin' house.
Fucking
Dracula, Wolfman, and friggin' Mummy.
Mummy versus Wolfman, and a sprinkle of fucking
Seamus,
vampire because we knew
you're
we knew the
kidding.
house sucked that bad. We had to throw fucking Dracula in there.
Seamus. Oh,
So
come
bad.
on.
The worst. I hated that house. Hated it. And not only that, this is the house. Didn't this have like two separate houses, like on one coast versus the other, or am I thinking a different one? But either way,
you might be right. You might be right.
It was, yeah, I think it did
like
vary
two different
between
stories
coasts.
or whatever, right?
Yeah.
No, the house was
same characters, different stories. Yes, I think you're right. Yeah,
absolute trash. I
my
hated this
God.
house. Hated it.
So you hate Dracula, the Mummy, and Wolfman.
It's not
Well,
just
you can hate
that.
the house. You doesn't have to hate the characters.
I
I'm
hate
joking, I'm
the
joking.
story. Like it's like again, it's another one of those things where it's like you have to take a tour to understand the story because it makes absolutely no fucking sense. Like the Wolfman's trying to heal himself, and by doing that, he has to contact the Mummy, and for some reason, fucking Dracula just decides to show up.
He's the benefactor. Dracula's the unspoken benefactor.
Yeah, that's right. He's the unspoken
Seamus.
benefactor.
49.
Terrible. Worst.
I liked this house.
God.
The
this
worst
house grew
Universal
on me a
Monsters
lot.
house they've ever done.
Oh man.
I liked the settings. That triple scare was
cool.
on point.
Loved it.
They got that.
Fun.
Triple
they
scare
nailed
was
that
the
one a
only
lot.
good part about this house. If you
Fun.
could get it, if you got it at the right time, like if you,
And you
if
got
you
to
could
see
get it,
Who
then
won?
great.
That was fun
Yeah,
too.
the winning always kind of changed up a little bit.
Behind door number 2.
Yeah, so the faults that Seamus brings up, I agree with. The story was very convoluted. It wasn't properly displayed to you. I was able to pick up. I think you could pick up enough of it to be like, okay, they're just kind of battling each other. Like we don't.
Yeah.
You don't know why.
Mhm.
Like you don't get the whole part of like Larry Talbot is trying to reverse the curse of the werewolf.
Mhm.
Dracula sent him to go get the amulet for him, but didn't tell him it wasn't for him. You know, you didn't get that from the house.
Mhm.
But what I got from the house was, you know, that Wolfman is going after the jewel and Dracula's kind of there, whatever. That's fine. I just thought this was coming off of The Bride.
Mhm.
I was very refreshed to get like not this kind of the secondary characters, right? This not Frankenstein. It's not Bride of Frankenstein. Dracula's a top tier, but it was nice seeing kind of Mummy love. That's the character and a setting that we don't often get, that like Egyptian style setting. I love that stuff. So I really had fun with this house, and that triple scare did boost it up a lot for me.
I'm so surprised you ranked this over some other ones you ranked it over.
You're
I can't-
surprised. I'm baffled.
Like I am absolutely blows me away that you ranked this top 20. This house is nowhere near. I mean, I get it. Like I understand why people liked it. I get it, and I know I'm the Universal Monsters hater. I understand that too. But I've said it before. I hate this versus thing. I hate it's so played out, and like
What the heck was Eternal Bloodlines then? They're versing each other, or they're all trying to freaking kill each other.
But that one, at least, like I feel like they were trying to do something. I don't know. It's hard to explain. No, Bloodlines was better than not much better, but it was better than Legends Collide for sure.
That's insane.
100%.
That's crazy.
They didn't even base it on the original Mummy. They based it on some bullshit like Mummy sequel from like the 30s. Like what is this?
The Mummy's
shit?
Hand.
I don't even know what Bloodlines was
what?
about. If the only character in there I recognize, Bride of Frankenstein. If everyone wasn't in my ear, me, this is about this, and this, I wouldn't have friggin' known anything about it. I wouldn't have even known it was a Universal Monsters house if the bride did not pop out. Don't get me wrong.
I'll put it this way.
I didn't have Legends Collide very high, though. It was kind of...
You are defending a house that you haven't, like, almost 40.
39,
so.
yeah.
Because over Eternal Bloodlines is just crazy to me, Seamus.
No,
and I'm surprised that you hated it more than that one. I'm surprised that you have it ranked lower than the freaking Bride of Frankenstein.
I remember he hated this one.
I didn't
remember the hate for this one.
I didn't remember.
Now, this one probably grew for me over time, right? If this house was maybe at 33, 34, I would have maybe been a little bit fresher in my mind about stuff that stuck out to me that I didn't enjoy. But as the years pass, I remember the stuff I really did enjoy, and I did have a fun time going through the different scenes and settings and Legends Collide. And I had a lot of fun with this one, that's for sure.
The set design was real cool, too. When you walked in,
it was okay.
Sphinx and whatever and stuff.
It was.
Cool.
I mean, it was nothing.
Like you said, the Egypt setting I thought was fun and different. And then when you first walked in,
I liked that a lot.
Which
that
is fine. See, again, I think one of my biggest issues was then just do a mummy house. It doesn't need to be Mummy versus Wolfman versus fucking Dracula.
And I would have been fine with that too.
Yeah.
Like, oh God,
I think I could have done without Dracula. You could have done just Wolfman and Mummy, and I would have been perfectly okay with that. But I do remember this one growing on me.
To me, it was like, I remember when I remember like you and I were like shitting all over the Invisible Man from
and Unmasked.
From Unmasked, and Jamie gets so pissed because she liked it, and it's like
love him, still love it.
But to me, that's kind of like with Dracula. I'm like, why is he in this house? It doesn't make. I feel like you just had to add him there because we gotta have Dracula. Because why not? Blah.
Yeah, they needed the name, and the likeness
suck
of him.
your blood. Like, fuck off, Dracula.
Eat shit. But yeah, so that's probably one of the most controversial picks that we have.
It's gonna be definitely the most controversial one, I think.
I'll have to
maybe
on the last episode, I'll come up with some little statistics like biggest gaps and stuff like that, just to kind of look back on some of the stuff.
Just to give Nick some more stuff to do.
Yeah,
he just gave it to himself. What are you talking about?
That's what he enjoys it. He does.
Alrighty. Let's move to another controversial one here.
Yeah, also diabolical.
37?
37.
Okay.
Jamie, you had this ranked all the way at 45.
Wild.
Seamus had this all the way up at 22.
But you guess what it is.
In the middle at 38.
Yeah.
And this would be last year's Fallout.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, folks.
Absolute crazy work.
So, Jamie, you had this the lowest.
It's almost in my top 3 bottom.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, well, as you guys all know, as I previously went on my rant about The Last of Us not being my favorite, yet again, we get another post-apocalyptic house back to back years, I'm pretty sure. Probably another one this year, too. Who the heck knows? Because apparently everyone loves them except for me. And I just don't... Don't get me wrong. They really picked it up in the Fallout house. When they added in the... I don't even know what the names of this stuff are. I'm going to sound freaking stupid trying to talk about it. Like the little mart you walk through, and they had the whatever zombies and stuff kind of like popping out at you through the walls and the drapes and shit. That was really cool that they added. Other than that, it just really... The open layout of the house I didn't mind because I feel like they utilized it pretty well, and it did kind of feel like you were walking through a pod or whatever the hell they call them, that kind of stuff like that. Vaults, there we go, thank you. And just kind of, I mean, it's the same thing that I could say about IPs and stuff that I like that other people don't like. If you're not a big fan of this franchise, you're probably not going to get the house and you're not going to like it as much as others. And I feel like that's exactly what happened for me. I mean, fuck, I forgot it was even called a vault. That's how much you should know that I'm not very in depth about learning about this house or since even doing it. But it did get better over time. I will say that. It wasn't in my dead last. It was in bottom 5. But I mean, I knew it was going to be. I knew you guys were going to rank it higher. So I was like, there's no way it's going to stay down there. So it's all right. Into the 30s
This was
at least.
Definitely a grower, not a shower.
Yeah.
This one got better over time.
There you go, Nick. That's
for
a
sure.
good one. Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely, I think this was probably one of the most improved houses over the course of the season last year. I think this started out pretty flat, and then they started to... They made improvements, like the little mart scene, like that Jamie had mentioned. They took the windows out in between you and the ghouls, so they could like kind of reach out and get into you.
Yeah.
They added a ghoul in that little scene by the I think you were entering Philly or something. He was by the cockroach that came out of the little can, but they added him in there. The characters they got their roles probably a little bit later than other people had gotten their roles. It felt like it took them a little bit to kind of grow into it. The Lucy character,
oh my
while
God,
we love Lucy, it was just kind of the same. You know, like she would just kind of come out and be like, okie dokie.
Yeah.
And I know that's her. I know that's her thing. I get it, but it did just get a little repetitive for me. But I had it at 38. It's at 37. I mean, it's kind of there. Seamus, we'll close it out with you because you had it at 22.
Well, look,
obviously a fan of the series, though.
I was fair to it. I mean, I put it at 22. It's not like I stuck this at like 5 or 6. It's not like
it's in the middle.
I'm not gonna die over it. I'm not gonna die in that hill. But because again, I understand the criticisms it got. Like, again, not a property that you can necessarily call horror. I think there are elements to it that are horrific, and that's what makes it fit. And I think part of my fandom of the property is coloring my opinion a little bit. But I thought it was good for what it was. I think it nailed exactly what it had to be. I mean, again, like Jamie said, if you're not a fan of Fallout, you're not going to get anything out of it. But if you are a fan of the game or fan of the show, even a little bit, you'll get something out of it. And it also didn't feel like the weights was astronomical for this either. Like, I feel like The Last of Us would have probably been a little bit higher on my list had the weight not been as bad as it was.
Yeah.
But Fallout's wait wasn't awful. I don't feel like I ever really waited very long for it. I mean, there were a couple nights, but it was a manageable wait. And I think a lot of the criticisms are fair. I think the scare actors, it was a little too samey. There wasn't as much variety. Lots of the ghoul, lots of Lucy. There wasn't any Maximus, which absolutely diabolical work. Universal. You don't give me any Maximus at all.
It's the robot guy, right?
Well, he's in the suit, but like there's no Maximus.
There's no
like it's literally just a voice line.
Yeah.
I saw one Maximus character once, but he's in like a dark corner.
Oh, then I never saw him.
And you can't even tell it's him sometimes, and he wasn't there all the time.
It was so dimly lit in that house too that I feel like that's a good thing I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because I forgot to mention that. I feel like half of the scare actors are characters I couldn't see, especially the ghouls, because I mean that's one of the faces I'm like familiar with because it's such a odd looking character design. And I feel like before they added in those other ones that a lot of them were kind of like tucked off and hidden. I couldn't really like get a good look at them.
Yeah, and I do feel like this house, which Universal tends to fall into this trap a little bit with their IPs, is that they're so focused on making you look at all of the look from the game, look from the game, look from the movie, and they kind of take away from the scare elements of the house. Yeah. There's not a whole lot for the scare actors to do because you're so focused on all of the props and everything that you recognize from the property, and I think they fall into that trap a little bit with some of these IP houses where like they have to nail all these beats from whatever it is they're pulling from, that it kind of sacrifices some of the more effective scare elements. Like with some of the original houses, they can play with the scares a little bit more and they can get you a little bit better. But otherwise, I think it got what it needed to do. Was it perfect? No, but at the same time, there were a lot worse IPs over the last 5 years than Fallout, I think.
Yeah.
And I feel like closing statement. That's it, Nick. I'll be quick. And I'm not trying to be Fallout's biggest hater because I'm really not. I was Jason's biggest hater, and I'll stand on that hill, but that's fine. But I feel like
2 properties you haven't watched, but yeah, that's fine.
But that's okay. I feel at least I've watched a couple of Jasons and a couple episodes of Fallout. But I feel like with Fallout,
a couple episodes of Fallout, it's like 10 games and 2 seasons. That's a couple episodes of season 1.
It's pretty much just like, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. Never mind.
I get the gist.
Anyways, you get the gist exactly. Man, you made me lose my train of thought. Oh, what I was going to say. No, it's okay. Fallout, I feel like, is such a niche property, so I know it's very exciting for those who never thought that it would ever come to the event, and I know how cool that probably was, so it does make me happy to see those people excited for it, and especially like Seamus liking the game so much and being familiar with it, obviously more than we are. I mean, it makes me happy to see others enjoying it, even if I don't enjoy it that much. That's fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that you put it at 45. That's
yeah,
fine.
but like I said, this is
I put Legends Collide at 49, and I think I gave Jamie a heart attack. So
my
it's okay.
personal bias. I'm selfish. I like what I like.
All right. Well, let's move along now. We got 2 more for this episode. So let's go to
the final 2.
Yeah, number 36. We're going all the way back to HHN31 once more.
I'm
and this is one.
This one was as low as it was.
It's like I am. Well, I guess it was because of Jamie's doing. Me and you had it at similar spots. I had it higher.
Pretty close.
We're close. You had this at 31. I had this at 27. Jamie had it at 38.
38.
And that would be Fiesta de Chupacabras.
Boring.
So that's your official statement.
Boring, unfortunately. Was really, really excited at that one. And that, again, I just feel like it was a forgetful house. I feel like it blended right into Spirits of the Coven with me. And I know we ran it a couple more times than maybe Spirits of the Coven. But it just, I don't know. I can't even remember. I couldn't name you any rooms that we walked through in that house, honestly.
Get the little firecracker scene.
Yeah,
that's about it. The like town center scene is like the only one I can remember. Maybe I didn't do it as much.
Coopy area, I think.
No idea. No, I have no clue. So maybe I could stand corrected. Maybe I ranked this so much lower just because I didn't do this house as often as I thought I did. So maybe that kind of deterred me from ranking it any higher. But
yeah, this is one that I do think because it is one of the older ones on the list, right? We have 30 and 31 that maybe we forget some stuff. And that happened to me. I had to almost just place some of these like this just based off of remembering how I felt about it now, being like, did I enjoy it? Yes. Why? I might not be able to tell you exactly why.
Yeah.
I remember it being colorful and loud. The point that Seamus had made earlier when we were talking about A Quiet Place is that, yes, there was puppets, but they weren't necessarily the main focus or the biggest percentage of this. There was still a lot of characters in this house. It wasn't like a 80% puppet, 20% character split. So I felt that was like, it's appropriate to use puppets in that sense. But I remember it just being like a very loud, chaotic house. And it was a fun, different thing. I feel like at 31, they definitely were pretty experimental with a lot of their properties that year. And this was obviously one of them. This one was the one I think that was, oh no, I'm confusing that with. So I'm confusing this one with what is
what's next.
What is next? So I won't say what it is next, but
I think Chupacabras. There's maybe for me, it was enough. Again, like I've said before, a lot of what I like is not just the scare element of it. I like the theming and the how it makes like what it looks like and the scenery and how. And I loved the idea of it. Just felt like you were walking into, a Mexican village or, in that area, and it really kind of being both, a party vibe, fiesta style, like fiesta feel with, obviously being destroyed by a massive angry goat eating monster. And I just think it worked really well. There was a lot of cool set pieces. I liked the firecracker. I liked kind of walking in, you see in the background, you see kind of like this big scenery, and it feels like it just makes the room feel so much bigger.
Yeah, it had a lot of those scenes kind of like with Blood Moon, Dead Man's.
Makes you feel like it's outdoors, yeah.
Yeah, and you can like see the next kind of area, but you don't see it. You can almost like see through the whole house.
Yeah.
But it feels like you're just twisting through this village. And I love the little, just such a small little addition, but they had the firecrackers hanging, and when the audio would pop for them, smoke would come out behind them. Such a stupid little small thing, but I do like those little random details.
Right, yeah.
So that's why I did remember this a little bit more fondly. So now the one that we're going to end on, 35, is one that I confused a lot with Chupacabras. And this somehow is the closest we all got. We almost all put this at the same exact spot. Seamus and Jamie had this at 30. I had it at 31. So we were all like right on this one. And this is Monstros, the Monsters of Latin America.
Yeah.
And you can see why I would kind of confuse the two at times. Because I was going to say for Fiesta de Chupacabras, I think this is the one where it was a completely Spanish-speaking cast, and maybe it was for Chupacabras, but I think I know it was for Monstros.
Wasn't El Artista all?
I think it was Artista.
Artista was the one that was all.
Unless Monstros was
Latino,
too.
Latinx.
It might have. Well, no, I think Monstros was too. Actually, I think the
Monstros
cast
probably
was
was
as
too.
well. Yeah,
It's supposed to be. But
I thought you meant just speaking. I was like, I think the cast was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I believe the whole cast was. I think that it was a predominantly Spanish-speaking cast, and that's why I kind of flipped the two. So I enjoyed this house. We all have it in the same spot, so there's really not much debate here. I enjoyed it. The ending will go down in infamy as one of the worst endings of any Halloween Horror Nights house of all time. That's a hill I will die on.
It definitely fell flat. That is for sure.
Yeah, that was a wet fart. That was just. But the house itself was really fun. I like how it was broken up into those 3 different stories. The animatronic, and let's see.
You use that term loosely. Oh, you mean like the big one, though?
And I can't remember all the names. It was Lalachusa, Telepucci, and whatever the other ones are. I can't remember all of them. Elsa Bone, yeah, those 3. The big Elsa Bone head was really cool. That was probably my favorite segment of the house when he was, ripping the spines and all that stuff. I think Lalachusa was the people eater, the baby snatcher. It was like the bird or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, overall, I had a lot of fun with this house. It wasn't a long wait house. It was always a very doable house. And I had a good time with it. It was violent. It was gory. It smelled. They had that chicken shit room.
Oh, yeah,
that
it smelled so
with
bad.
that big puppet. That was that big animatronic,
so cool.
that gross
that we got
thing.
From Hollywood.
Yep.
That was from Hollywood because this was this. They did this, and then we did it the year after, I think it was, and they did Monstros 2 that year.
Very fun.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this house. What were your thoughts, Jamie?
I really enjoyed it too.
We had the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did enjoy it too, and I thought it was fun that we got an original that we saw in Hollywood before we had here, because I know it's been kind of flipped around. They've gotten a couple of our originals before, so I thought it was very fun. I do love seeing the Hispanic culture being up front and center like that, since for Horror Nights, we've explored different cultures and ethnicities and whatnot and stuff like that in the horror genre, but it's really fun to see it told in like this storybook way that honestly probably a lot of people were told these stories when they were kids, and it's really cool to see and like hear people saying stories like, oh yeah, that shit was scary growing up, whatever. But I thought it was done really well. I don't think it was too cluttered to where it had too many stories going on at once. I think the anthology setting kind of worked for it, how you kind of went in room into different room. It didn't feel like it was rushed, or it didn't feel like it was too much going on that you couldn't keep up with the stories that were being told. So all collectively, I think it was a very cool original house.
Yeah. Seamus, how do you remember this one?
I enjoy houses that cause controversy, and this one definitely caused controversy with the babies getting eaten. So I fondly remember that.
Were people upset? Really?
You don't remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
no.
people were pissed because it was all about like
Bebe.
the baby carriage was all bloody and everything, and like apparently the monster ate the baby, and everyone was freaking out because like, you don't kill kids or whatever, and it's like,
really?
it's a fucking haunted house, like, relax.
And that's the story of that monster,
right? And that's her story.
Yeah.
She steals people's babies, like
they've literally had La Llorona like twice at the event. But anyways,
yeah.
But we also didn't have Twitter back then, so
that's
right. I really like this one. Again, granted, it's still only 30 for me, but like,
I feel like it's a good spot though, still.
But I still think it's a decent spot for it compared to everything that we've had. And I think honestly, it was a better version of Chupacabras. I think Chupacabras did something a certain way. This was a better version of that. Plus, again, the animatronic at the end, that big bird monster thing was incredible stuff. It was really, really cool.
So cool.
And you know, as much of a wet fart the end was, like, it didn't do enough to detract from the house, I think, that much for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely fell flat, but if overall for what it was, I thought it was a really, really cool setup. I like when you first walk in, they're doing like the Day of the Dead thing, and then you kind of like work your way through, and I don't know, I enjoyed it.
It is funny that we do have it all at 30, 30, and 31,
that
yet it ended
funny.
at 35.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny how that works
Just
out.
because of all the other
numbers.
things that were higher and lower. But it is interesting.
Sucks.
We're not going to get into the next one yet, but this was a tie with the next one. And the tiebreaker went because the next one that we will start next episode with is because somebody had it ranked higher than 30. So that's why it went a little bit higher. So that is our first episode of the March Madness 50 house list. Just quickly before we go, let me recap what we talked about. We're going to redo the whole episode. No, I'm just kidding. Number 50, we had Hell Block Horror. 49 was Museum Deadly Exhibits. 48, Spirits of the Coven. 47, A Quiet Place. 46, Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. 45, The Last of Us. 44, Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. 43, Jason Universe. 42, Grave of Flesh. 41, Dueling Dragons Choose Thy Fate. 40, Stranger Things 4. 39, Triplets of Terror. 38, Universal Monsters Legends Collide. 37, Fallout. 36, Fiesta de Chupacabras. And 35, Monstros, the Monsters of Latin America. Woof. That was a fun one. I can't wait to dive into these next couple ones because this one, everyone kind of had, for the most part, these sort of ranked in this portion. Like, we probably would have talked about all of these houses in one way or the other. The next two episodes, next one probably in particular, is where you're going to get a lot of, some people had these in the bottom, some had them in the top, and they ended up being on the second episode. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. But thank you for joining us for our March Madness, our episode 1 of this. This was a really fun one. Let us know in the comments what ones you were very surprised with. I want to see what the biggest shock is to everybody out there. But until next time, this is Nick.
This is Seamus.
This is Jamie.
Happy haunts.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Fear and Beer, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on whatever streaming platform you are listening to us on. You can find us on all of our socials at Fear and Beer Pod.